Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Prince Ty, and welcome to episode 3 of my Survivor Game Changers Power Rankings. Had a bit of a loss this week. Malcolm Freeberg, one of my personal favorites, and one of my main contenders, has bit the dust because JT is an idiot without Stephen Fishbach on the island, as it turns out. Want to listen to more discussion on my thoughts with regards to that? Jump on over to my friend Elise Anderson's amazing Survivor After Show. She had me on as a guest this past week. It was a great discussion, good times. Screw them for getting rid of Malcolm already. Bastards. In any case, I have 5 new contenders to discuss, well, some new contenders. Before we get to that, though, let's discuss my peripheral also rans. I have Zeke off my main list and into this kind of gray area. Why is he off my main list? Because I didn't see him at all this week. I saw Andrea in throwaway confessionals about how good Ozzy is at catching fish. I saw Ozzy in a throwaway confessional, humble bragging about himself. I saw Serene in a throwaway confessional, bitching about Troyzan losing the challenge. Nothing from Zeke, a little bit alarming. They could have put him in there, and they didn't. We also have Ozzy. I don't have any green contenders this week because we didn't see much of them at all other than throwaway stuff. Ozzy is only on my periphery because he did get the weird, positive, almost heroic music for managing to catch a stingray with almost no meat, which isn't even actually fucking fish. But I hate Ozzy, but he did get that music, and to that end, I kind of have to acknowledge it, which I now have. Nah, it tastes terrible. I'm sure Alicia is very excited. In any case, my 5 real contenders for this week. Number 5, I have the Queen rising again. Sandra is our villain of the season. She wanted to eat the baby goats. She gives no shits. She just calls the shots and kind of does what she wants. But the simple truth of the matter is that she is on this contender list because, as friend of the show artist pointed out, you have the only 2-time winner in Survivor history. You have a crazy twist and an idol and the means to get rid of her, and somebody from the other tribe, J2, who wants to get rid of her. And she's still there. She is still there. And honestly, she is a much more dangerous player for the Brad Culpeppers and the Ozzies and the JTs of the world than Malcolm would be. Because they are physical threats. She is not a physical threat. And she will always have that leg up to point at them as bigger targets than her. I don't understand what the fuck she's still doing here, but she's there, and to that end, I have her in my top 5 because I have to bow down to the Queen. That's how royalty works. She's above me in every sense of the word. She's my number 5. Number 4, I have Brad Culpepper kind of falling hard this week. He's in theory still in a good position. He could come back. He could still be the Jeremy that redeems himself from his first season mistakes. We saw him. He was an integral player. He was integral in getting the information from JT because JT trusted him. He was shown, therefore, to have a lot of trust both on his old tribe and in his switched tribe, which he's clearly been running, given the Caleb Boot episode and so on and so forth. That being said, I didn't love the episode for him. It was Sierra who basically said that they could vote whoever they wanted, and pushing for the Malcolm vote, not Brad. And overall, I don't think the Malcolm vote is as helpful for Brad as a Sandra vote would be, because when you're a big threat, it's good to have other big physical threats to point at. Malcolm's now gone. He's burned a bridge with JT by not doing what he wanted. All in all, he's still in a good position for now. I don't know how much I love his projection for later. And to that end, I've moved him down from my number 1 overall last week down to number 4. He's still there, but it's a little dicey. I don't think Monica would have let Sandra stay in the game. He probably should have asked his wife. Phone a friend. Should have been afforded to him. And number 3, I have personal favorite of my friend Sam at Canada, Sierra Dawn Thomas. I thought she had a very good episode. She was smart enough to parse out that they would probably target her as opposed to one of the bigger threats on her tribe based on idol play and so on and so forth. She immediately had that thought. She immediately had the thought that Malcolm being gone would be good, which it is for her game, because the more she can pick off all these big targets that are not her based on their original seasons, the better off she is. We didn't see a ton, but we saw a lot of memorable FaceTime. Her whole kiss of death on Malcolm was, intriguing for her. All in all, I feel like she is ascending. I feel like she separated herself somewhat from Brad Culpepper this episode. Brad's still the leader of that tribe, but I think Sierra may have better long-term legs, and to that end, I've moved her up. Number 2, this is again probably shameless plugging, but she's still alive, and therefore I still love her. Haley Ford, ladies and gentlemen, is my number 2 in the Survivor Power Rankings this week. I thought she played about as well as she could have given the situation, because she couldn't have her old tribe completely trust her, but at the same time she was doing her best to cover her ass with them in the event that something went wrong. She basically told them, vote Brad Culpepper, do not vote Sierra. They think you're voting Sierra. She basically called all that out. She also basically called her shot that it was going to be Malcolm getting voted out, talking about the physical threats. She also forewarned them that maybe it wasn't time to vote quite yet. So she covered her butts with the people that she had been with before, and she also covered her butt with the players that she's with now on New Amana, because she voted for Malcolm, as she said she was going to do. And I think they're going to make the mistake of continuing to trust her, even though she is the snake in the grass. I also think she has legs because Debbie very specifically said that she didn't have power and that she didn't have legs, and I saw that preview for next episode. Debbie's clearly wrong, which makes Haley look more right to me. And I think she's playing pretty well. So I have her at number 2. Which leaves me with my number 1 contender, which probably means he'll be dead next episode with the way things are going, because Edgic is dead. Jeff Varner. I'm going to take a pause so that Colin Connors can clean himself up, because I think he just made a mess of himself, because I am publicly agreeing with him. I think Jeff Varner is our number 1 contender after this episode. And I'll tell you why. We saw him, but we didn't see too much of him. We didn't see too much of him in the chaos, but the one major confessional that he had this round was predicting that for all of the planning they were doing before the tribal council with the joint teams, that this individual game was still going to make everything go to shit. And it did. He knew that Sandra and JT couldn't agree on a boot. He knew that JT couldn't be trusted to not go over there to possibly change things up. And he was right. He was 100% right. And while he did lose Malcolm, who was one of his main allies, the simple truth of the matter is that he's buffered very well in the Sandra versus JT war now. I don't see any way where he doesn't get to the merge. I don't see him as an immediate obvious threat at the merge, because he's not the best at challenges, but he does have a mind for the game, and he knows who to hide behind and who to play with and who not to play with. Sandra's a great buffer for Jeff Varner right now, and I think he has the chops. We saw it in Cambodia that he was ready to play and just was a little bit too strong out of the gate. I think he knows what to do. He had that confessional from previous episode about how he would be adaptable to any changes right around the swap, right after the swap. I feel good about Varner. I feel like after his disastrous round 1 challenge performances, he's picked it up. He was actually a great caller in that challenge, even if he wasn't great at the puzzle thing. So to that end, yeah, Jeff Varner's my number 1. So rounding out my top 5, I've got Jeff Varner number 1, Haley number 2, Sierra Dawn Thomas number 3, Brad Culpepper falling to number 4, and Queen Sandra rising to number 5. How is she still there? I don't get it either, artists. I don't get it either. With that, we're done another week. Till next time, have yourselves great days, and more importantly, good evenings.